Hello, this is the Captain Paxo, welcoming you back to some fighting to improve in Street Fighter V. This footage was recorded like the night before the update went live, so there is no V-Shift in the game, and even if there was, you most certainly wouldn't see it from me because, well, my mental stack is pretty stacked. I'm still getting used to the idea that I can, DP and use meter, so I still haven't figured out that I have a V-bar yet, so yeah. We's learning and stuff, and now I get to learn a new mechanic in V-Shift, and maybe I should learn how to air, because that whole thing where people just jump back and forwards, just constantly crossing you up with the motion inputs, like, I don't have the confidence to be able to go for a motion input when they start doing that, because my brain's still going, which direction am I supposed to be doing it in? So I just need to jump up and air throw, because Ibuki has an air throw, and I can tell him to fuck off with that shit. He's gonna DP, yep. When you wake up, throw someone a few times, you know they're gonna DP, and this guy gets me with like two very, well, somewhat random supers. It really catches me off guard, but it's Ken, it's random, it's weird, it's Street Fighter, you know it, you love it, you hate it. But look at that, I got DPs now, kinda. Kind of had to tell myself, oh yeah, I got DPs, and that kind of brings us to the topic of this video, which is just general mentalities in fighting games for trying to get better at them and stuff. Because mentalities are one of those things that you always have one, even when you first start playing the game. Whether you're aware of it or not is a completely different thing. Whether it's good or not is a completely different thing. And if it's bad, because you already have the mentality, you have to essentially unlearn it, figure out what the good mentality to have is, and then learn that one. And that whole process can be really difficult and extremely abstract compared to just getting tighter combos and more consistent motion inputs, isn't it? Like, you start off not having any of it as this guy gets a mad buffer. What the fuck? You start off with complete inability to do motion inputs and combos and stuff like that, and eventually you build it up, whereas a mentality already exists, as I mentioned. So trying to get a good mentality, well, you have to break down the first one first, right? And because it's so, like, abstract and personal to the individual, it can be really difficult to figure out what it is, and most videos on YouTube or most advice in fighting games won't really cover that sort of thing. They'll cover this is a good combo in this situation, here's some, like, I guess, like, exercises to practice your execution and stuff like that, but it's very rarely about, like, here's the kind of mindset that I have when going into this game, here's, like, a good thing to have your mindset for, yada yada. Because, like I said, it's very abstract and it's very personal. What works for one person isn't going to work for someone else. But it can be really important, because execution will only get you so far. If you don't have the right mentality, you're not gonna win. I mean, maybe you'll get, like, a handful of wins if you just go unga bunga random mashy button, like, flowchart Ken. You're gonna get some wins in, but you're not really going to improve. And if that's your goal, you're gonna hit a cap. There's only so much improving you can do with just pure execution. At some point you need to change the way you think, right? Good lord. It's the first set of the night. It's fine. I'm still trying to find my feet. We're gonna get blown up by that kind of random ass playstyle. It even doesn't matter what rank we go to. That's always gonna exist. But I thought it was just kind of interesting to have this kind of topic, since I recently watched a couple of interesting videos that actually go into some of this a little bit. Brian F made a video about, like, the pop quiz kind of players, where it's just like, do you know how to fight against this type of player? Pop quiz. Did you prepare your homework? Do you know what the answer is? I tried to forward heavy kick there, completely mistimed it, so I got stuffed, right? Do you know how to anti-air? Do you know how to deal with fucking wake-up DP? If you don't, you're gonna get stuffed, And if you do, then that kind of player just turns into a bit of a joke for you. But it it is that kind of mentality, isn't it? Where it's like, there's this one thing that's defeating you, like you don't have the answer because you didn't prepare your homework for the pop quiz, and you end up getting stuffed by it, and because this one person is just doing the same thing over and over, it just feels like complete bullshit that you're getting clipped by it, because they're just doing this one thing over and over. They're clearly not a very good player, they're not thinking about things much, they're just spamming this one tactic over and over, and they're winning because of it. Well, they shouldn't be winning, I'm better than them, surely. That's a pretty bad mentality to have. I mean, that is the scrub mentality, right? The idea that you are just better than them. What a fucking whiff punish, by the way. God, the amount of, like, supers in these first couple of sets that I just ate to the face is kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is, right? But yeah, the idea of just blaming your opponents for being bad and you can't beat them, it's not really that. It's incredibly frustrating, absolutely, to just have that random stuff. This guy's gonna think he can escape my EX kunai by running away. And I just clip him like, you can't just do that, you're gonna get stuffed. I don't know what he was thinking, but there you go. People be like that. They just up back constantly running away, and then they just get stuffed by something. It's very bizarre. But as I was saying, like the idea that you just don't know the answer. You learn the answer, right? And if you have the mentality of like, okay, I didn't know the answer, I need to learn the answer, then you learn the answer. That's a lot more beneficial than being like, man, that question's bullshit. I don't need to learn the answer to that. You know what I mean? And then the other video that I watched was the video by Leon Massey entitled I'm Bad, which I found really relevant to me. In terms of like, it's this idea that if you keep telling yourself you're bad at the game, which I am bad at Street Fighter, I'm bad at fighting games in general, I'm very inexperienced, I've barely played them, I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm spamming forward heavy kick without knowing what to do when I get a crush counter, you know, it's one of those things. But if you keep repeating that mantra of I'm bad, you start to put yourself in a position where you start looking for the loss and then using that as an excuse to be like, look, I am bad, sort of thing. And that's not really healthy for growth. And then taking that into like using you being not so good at video games as an excuse to reflect on your own self-worth and that sort of thing. It's a fantastic video. Leon Massey makes some really top tier videos. If you haven't checked them out, they're well worth the watch. As I'm gonna fucking wake up, throw this guy like 3 times, and he eventually decides to hit a button, and at this point, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I've meaty thrown this guy way too many times for him to not want to just sit there and block, so he has to hit a button, and I know he's gonna hit a button, so I start crush countering him, and I just sort of do that backwards and forwards, and it just stuffs him, because this guy doesn't have any league points, so this is either his first matches or he hasn't yet gotten a W, you know? So he's very new, and it's really interesting to watch him because he plays in a similar manner to how I first started playing, in that like he starts mashing jab because he knows jab is good, and he starts hitting sweep to try and like beat that, and it just, nothing's working for him. I'm just getting all these crush counters and meaties, and trade on super. I figured that was possible. I had it in the back of my mind like, yeah, it probably is possible, but I've never seen that. I have never seen someone trade with that super before, but hey, you know, it is what it is. We are most certainly still learning, and one thing that I learned from this match is don't get clipped by EXDP. Because I'm going to get hit by this guy's EXDP so many goddamn times in this match. It's going to be very frustrating to watch. But half of the time, I'm going to get clipped by it after I block the first hit. Because I block the first hit and I go, oh, it's my turn again. And then I get clipped by the second hit like an idiot. But that's one of those pop quiz kind of things, you know? It's like, did you have the answer? No. So you get stuffed by it. But, you know, we end up learning and figuring it out and stuff like that. And as sexy as that looked, we both know that that was meant to be a wake-up DP, and if it was, I should have been dead. Like, that should have been a trade at best. But instead, he fucking failed his execution, got a wake-up fireball, and goddamn. But a little bit of subtle commentating in the background. I go from I'm saying I'm bad to I say I'm learning. Just that little mix-up of wording can actually do a lot of... it can do a world of wonders for your mentality to learning any kind of skill. It's really interesting how you can kind of trick your brain into thinking in a certain way if you just repeat a phrase over and over, because the idea is that you say words because you believe them. So if you say words that even if you don't believe them, if you say them enough times, it tricks your brain into thinking that you're saying it because you believe it. It kind of well, it essentially mixes up your brain into a circular logic where, like, you're saying these words because you believe them, therefore you believe these words. And you believe these words because you're saying them. And you're saying them because you believe them. You get what I mean? This is something that I do personally, even, like, in real life. Like, if I'm feeling ill and I feel like I want to throw up, I literally just tell myself, I feel fine, I feel fine, I feel fine. Like, 50 times. The first 20 times I tell it to myself, out loud, by the way, it seems really stupid, but I say this out loud. The first 20 times, I still feel ill, I still feel like I want to throw up. But once I get to, like, 50 times I've said it out loud, like, I'm fine, I'm starting to be like, yeah, I am fine. I don't need to throw up. Well, look, who needs to throw up? That's for, you know, those kind of people. I don't know, fucking, I'm fine. It's really weird bit of psychology, but it's really beneficial for things like trying to learn. As I get clipped by that again. Come on, man. But it's very beneficial to go from, instead of being like, I'm bad, I suck, being like, I'm learning, you know? Or if I'm trying to focus on my anti-airs at the beginning of a match, if I see that it's someone playing a Shoto, because you know Shotos love to jump, I literally tell myself DP, 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 DP over and over, and it kind of sticks it in my mind. The act of repetition forces the idea of doing a DP into my mind, so I'm much more likely to do it. And you can see throughout this session, I've been throwing out a lot more DPs. Hit or miss, it doesn't matter. Throwing out DPs is an improvement from throwing out no DPs. The only thing that I need to do now is make my DPs more accurate, throwing them out when it's a good idea, but I need to throw more out in general before I can really spot when it's a good idea to throw out DPs, if you get what I mean. It's this idea that you tell yourself you're going to do a certain thing, and then you end up doing a certain thing, but because of the way that mental stack works in fighting games, you can end up getting very overwhelmed and very flustered and just resorting onto old tricks, things that are already in your mental stack. So if you want to add something new into your mental stack, you kind of need to go through a process of forcing it into your mental stack, and the way that I do that, like I said, is repeating the idea. DP, 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 DP. I'm gonna DP now. You know, it's in there, it's at the front of my mind, rather than all the way at the back where I can't access it very easily unless I'm giving it a lot of attention. And that can be thrown back to the, you know, instead of I'm bad, I'm learning. Instead of demotivating yourself by saying I'm terrible at this game, you can kind of motivate yourself by being like, I'm still in the learning process, so defeat is kind of inevitable, but that's not necessarily the thing to focus on. It's not necessarily like I need to win, it's more like I need to learn. And I kind of fucked this up a little bit within this session, because I'm very fallible, right? I'm not a fucking machine, I'm a human, depending on the day. But I end up fighting an R Mika for the first time in this session, and what ends up happening is I'm scared of R Mika because I've never fought her before, and I know she's a grappler, and grapplers scare the piss out of me because I don't have an option against them yet. I have ideas of what I want to do, but again, once I get into the match, those ideas go to the back of my mind where they're not accessible with the mental stack. Everything else, like the stuff that I always fall back on, That's all at the front, and the ideas of how to maybe go about fighting a grappler is all the way at the back and really inaccessible whilst I'm getting flustered, right? And what ends up happening is I try just winning against the Armika, I try beating them, and I don't take the opportunity to go, I've never fought an Armika before, maybe I should try this, that, or the other, maybe I should try mixing things up, maybe I should just experiment a little bit, because, like I said, I don't fight a lot of Armikas. I fight, like, well, this is the only one that I fought in however many sets that I've played. So it should have been a really good opportunity to just mess around, really, as opposed to being scared. Because if I'm scared while I'm fighting Armika and I only try to win against Armika, it's going to be a very slow process of actually learning. Whereas if I fight an Armika and my sole goal is to learn against Armika, I'm going to learn Armika, and then Armika doesn't scare me as much in the future. You get what I mean? Like, it's just taking the idea of... oh my god. It's taking the idea of... instead of focusing on winning, focusing on learning. But that, again, is like, I need to drill that into my brain, because... like I said, I got flustered, I got scared, and I just defaulted to, I want to win, rather than I want to learn, right? And that was a big mistake. A lot of very bizarre things happened in this set. It's kind of turned into my favorite set. We got the Ken from earlier just doing like some crazy ass supers. We traded with Ryu's super. We came across a guy who played very similarly to me when I first started playing, and that was kind of interesting to kind of reflect on that. We're fighting our first Armika. We did some silly stuff against that Akuma earlier. It's just a lot of interesting things. I don't know, it's kind of a fun set. But this person, I get a lot of meaty throws on them, and their response was to jump, so, you know, I'm thinking, maybe I should jump against this character. But that's kind of like the whole idea of grapplers, isn't it? Like, they want you to jump because it counters throws, so maybe backdashes would be good as well. But this person, like, adapts really well to all the things that I'm doing, and I'm not adapting at all because I don't know what the fuck to do. But one thing I did discover is that if Armika tries to do that, the V-trigger to armor through whatever I'm doing, I can just target combo, right? Because it'll break the armor and I can go into special moves, right? And then she gets in and starts doing her throw game, and I don't know the like any of the strings or combos or anything that Armika really tries to do to put you into the blender. I don't know how to counter it, so I'm just going to try and like meaty throw her every single time. But she cottons onto it, starts jumping and doing air combos, or not air combos, but essentially jump-ins. And I don't respond to the jump fast enough or in the correct way to be able to block it. I go for the throw and then I panic and I just, you know, random shit happens and I don't get it. So she's not going to jump? God damn. Remembering that I have Rider as well. Not Rider, the Tenrai, the V-Skill 1. There you go. Kind of a... like I said earlier, I still have a lot of things that is not within my arsenal of things that I can do with Ibuki, so trying to learn V-Shift on top of all the things that I currently just don't know it's difficult, right? It's very rare that I remember, oh yeah, I have V-Skill 1, and it's like stupid good. It's not that common that I remember, oh yeah, I have DP and it's stupid good. And meter, I'm sitting on full meter here. I could critical art. Generally with Ibuki, it's a better idea to do EX Kunai. I'm pretty sure that was meant to be EX Kunai, but you know. I'm just getting slapped in counter here and all kinds of nonsense. Aww. You can see the idea though. I try and shimmy whatever wake up attack happens, but I was still in range for the grab. Could you imagine? That'd be so cool. Do two of those, she's going to jump. Oh! Kind of just a little bit out of range. Oh, that was meant to be a buffer as well. I completely missed it. Big shame. I'm gonna get stuck. Yeah. I try and go for the wake up throw again as if it's gonna work, and just get stuffed. What are we gonna do here? Just get tapped by the microphone. Why not? Oh man, she's just doing like a lot of jump-ins because I'm not contesting it again. Like, I'm panicking, and because I'm panicking, all the stuff that I'm trying to focus on, all the things that I'm trying to put into my mental stack is just escaping it. It's going back in. It's regressing. It's retreating back into the back of my mind, where it currently lives, where I need to put a lot of effort into bringing it to the forefront of my mind in order to catch it, but that concentration is being disturbed by I'm panicking, I'm gonna get thrown, oh good lord, I'm dead. And so I can't access it. And again, it's that situation of, if I manage to shift my mindset from I'm trying to win to I'm learning, I probably would have been able to get the whole like, oh, DPs, air to airs, meter, V-trigger, all of that sort of stuff. I probably would have had a much better time with it, and I might have even had better success. Who knows? That should have been into EX Kunai, really. Oh my god, this is so silly. What am I watching? Oh, it's ridiculous, but you can't be too much. Oh, God. That throw scares me. That throw, doing a throw on someone's block stun is really it's kind of interesting because it scares people into trying to throw tech, even if it's delayed as all hell. And at the lower ranks, it kind of scares people into the monkey see, monkey do kind of thing, where it's like, oh, you tried to throw, let me throw. Oh, you're trying to sweep, and I block it, let me counter with sweep. You know, even though there's almost certainly a better thing to do. Hey, look at me jumping in the air. That was the R-Mika match was the one where I kind of decided I need to get more comfortable in the air. I need to stop being scared of it, because jumping in the air is very powerful and it's very scary for the opposition if they don't know how to anti-air, which is the majority of this rank, right? Most people at this rank don't know how to anti-air, so you jumping in the air is terrifying for them, right? But it's terrifying for me because I see people getting anti-aired all the time, right? But if I'm not going to try it, I'm not going to learn when to do it and when not to do it. I just sort of, you know, it's never going to be there. Look at me getting some combos off. I've been practicing that. Can you tell? It's been kind of interesting, actually. Oh, I missed it. No. Oh, big sad. Oh, come on. Where's my buffers? You know, oh my god. That's just execution stuff, though. That's not mentality. Mentality, hard to change and hard to learn and adapt and all that sort of stuff because, you know, people don't really talk about it too much. And it's hard to figure out your own mentality and stuff like that. But combos, very tactile, very tangible. It's something that you can kind of easily improve and all that sort of good stuff. But interesting thing happened. I am now bronze. So in the future, I want to make a video on that if I can remain in bronze, because I'm only just in bronze. So, yeah, good times ahead. We've done a lot of learning. We've scaled a significant portion of the learning curve, but we've still got a mountain ahead of us. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.